Alrighty, let's see if this works. So I figured I'd post all the time, blow up Discord. I don't really post on forums too much. So it's like, well, I can record some stuff and just do some screen share and talk about some decks and post some things here and there. Nothing too crazy and probably nothing too consistent, but as I make decks and test them and fine tune them, I'll post them. So deck's at 52. I want to get it down to 50, but that's what I've been running it at right now. So this is mostly an Exodus deck. And what it's trying to do is pretty quickly go to a Moses' Staff on Moses, a Book of the Covenant and the Tabernacle, and you start cycling through covenants, mainly New Covenant, and you underdeck your plagues first, and then Moses' Staff takes them from deck. And then you do the band, where I will lay that out in a second. And you do the band that lets you have Moses and Destroyer in it. So you get a constant recycle of good Old Testament enhancements. It does it for them as well, but oh well. You get a constant recycle of your plagues for this deck. You get to play them first and they cannot be negated. And I'll break all that down to how it does it, and then I'll do a goldfish to run through it. And because I do a goldfish, it'll probably be the worst goldfish in the world. The reserve is all good. I trimmed the defense. This is just normal Roman defense that I've been using a lot. I brought that down a little bit. Pretty much just one character, so because I had to bring in two more neutrals. I did take out the Golden Cross, the little Golden Cross package as well, just to fit in more different neutrals, mainly these covenants and Noah's Ark in main deck and the Tabernacle. So this did have Chastisement of the Lord and House of Prayer in it, and I was able to set aside like a Noah or a Miriam with Chastisement of the Lord, and on upkeep I would shuffle a good Old Testament enhancement from discard back into my deck through Chastisement of the Lord. Set aside your Good Human Prophet for 3 turns. Each upkeep you may shuffle an Old Testament green enhancement from discard pile or reserve, and then you get a big 6/6 boost. So what I was doing, usually I was throwing aside Miriam for a bit, and I was shuffling back green enhancement and House of Prayer. I could then trigger in the same upkeep, and I would trigger after that, after Chastisement. So whatever I shuffled, I could immediately snag. And then with Storehouse, I was also able to go straight to my reserve as well. So upkeep, I was recycling cards and taking cards. It was doing a lot. So I brought it down to what I wanted to do. So what am I focusing on doing? And I'm really focusing on getting back plagues, playing them first, CBN. So that kind of changed the reserve. The reserve is pretty crazy. By turn 2, I go Book of the Covenant with Covenant with Abraham and Storehouse, and I get out specific heroes. I only have 4 and 2 cards are getting them. So I get out David with either Covenant Abraham or Out of Egypt. So I'll pull him out, and then I'll pull out Jehoshaphat with the other. So on turn 2, I should have assembled my Exodus band that includes Moses, Aaron, to Phineas, David, and Jehoshaphat. I'll show you how I do all that. Usually I grab Phineas, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I recycle stuff. I get to play first and do all that. So let's see what it does. All right, 8, and can't do that. discard a card to draw 2. I already have both of my only humans in my deck now, so don't need that. That's one of those key aspects of knowing your deck. So got a little bit of a card advantage. Let's just assume I go first, so I'll put myself at quote unquote the handicap, just because I'm at less resources from an initial standpoint. So from here, I do like Noah's Ark main deck. It was in reserve, and I would Emmaus Road it, but I was finding myself getting out other cards with Emmaus Road, pretty much shuffling, cycling through, offering your son to get back New Covenant as well, and that way I could take other covenants with book other covenant. So I kind of moved this over. It is 52. I think this is pretty important for the deck. So yeah, got a pretty weird hand. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to have to essentially cycle through cards. And that's why this deck is really good, though. It can cycle a lot because it gets Emmaus Road, offering your son. It has numerous different covenants, and you have a covenant that can draw. So what I would do here is put down both these heroes. Usually I play this as evil for Plague of Hail, but I'm going to have to get a draw. So draw up to X. X equals your Exodus heroes. 1, 2. I'm going to go ahead and play down Tab, put down Melky, because I'm just going to drop my hand for Mayhem. Put down Kings. And since I'm going to shuffle this anyway, I'm just going to play it in art phase, which could screw me over because I could shuffle into it. Sometimes I don't always do that. But I get to underdeck this, and since it would be my first turn, I'm just going to Mayhem these anyway. These do go underneath your deck, but you're just going to Mayhem. Since it's first turn, they don't have an Old Testament enhancement. Wouldn't need that. So now I can just play that, put it all in, and then shuffle into 6. Let's bring out these forts over here. Okay, so yeah, it worked out. And what do you know? Now I get to draw 3 off of that. So I'm gonna have to check the rules to see if I have 2 places to hold an artifact, if I can activate 2 after art, because artifact phase is artifact activation is through prep phase. So and if I have another identifier to hold, I think I can activate another one. If I can't, doesn't matter because this doesn't do anything right now, but I need to touch up on that. But I can play this because territory class enhancement, and I get to discard it, and now I get a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I just immediately will go ahead and play that. So this is actually really good right now as well. This I'll use next turn. So now I go to Egypt, play a site, discard that, and then Egypt plays Pharaoh's daughter, which then is going to take Moses. So I will, or Egypt takes an evil Egyptian. I'll take Pharaoh's daughter. I'll play Pharaoh's daughter, take Moses to hand. Takes a human hero from reserve unless used by a female. I kind of want to use that next turn. Because I have Moses to Shipra to play an Exodus hero. And I could attack with Destroyer with Death. I think the better play here is to save that Virgin Birth for next, knowing that I have a Chronicles in hand and a decent ban for turn 1 in 18/18 that gets to either draw 1, resurrect, or play from deck. So if you lose your destroyer, you just immediately go out with Shipra. So I would play an Exodus hero. There's a lot I like to have early, like her's a really good one early on, but for the band, let's go to an Aaron. And let's just say my opponent would do something like I would have a Chronicles of the King to back it up. So don't have much here from a blocking standpoint. Edit note, this is an orange Roman. There you go. Yay, note. I didn't put this in on prep fit. I even thought to myself, I was like, oh, don't forget to do that. And I forgot to do that. So don't do that. Let's say I was attacked. I would still be able to, if they banned, then I would just have to give up one. And that's fine. Covet. So always look for your upkeeps immediately. Don't even look at anything else. Like obviously Lost Souls hit first, so I would do this, but just have the repetition in mind that when I draw, I look for stars in my hand. No stars, I look for Lost Soul triggers. As soon as you're done with your Lost Soul triggers, so I'd use this more than likely, you go to upkeep and know what your upkeep triggers are. And for most people, it's 3 woes. Pretty much everyone, it's 3 woes, and then most people, it's 3 woes and storehouse. Just keep it ingrained in your mind. So storehouse hits. I remember I kept Virgin Birth, so I do have one way to go to a human. I kind of want 2 ways to go to human. I don't think I need an enhancement here because I have this Denarius to pull. I'd rather have the band and be able to play this. In order to get the band, I need the enhancements. Remember, I do have a Book of the Covenant as well to grab a Covenant, aka another hero. So storehouse will grab this. And now it's still upkeep. I look at everything. Okay, good to go. So now I get to decide what I want to do. Usually you don't draw, but if you have a territory class to play, that goes back to deck. Because you're going to want to shuffle and bring this back in. So you're going to want to be able to hit it twice. He's orange. So why make him orange as well? And get a card that has an evil card that has a discard ability. I usually go to Chronicles of the Kings. I use that. So I go here just to show you the correct way. Shuffle, send to the bottom of deck. That goes to my hand. Artifact phase. I like to draw first to see what else I'm going to get. But because I know I'm going to go to Covenant with Abraham, I can activate Book of the Covenant and take a Covenant from reserve or deck since I have a Tabernacle Priest out. But I'm going there anyway. And you'll notice a lot of Covenants that'll come into play in a second. So I go to Covenant with Abraham. Now I have Covenant with Abraham and take a hero from reserve, take a human hero from reserve or deck if used by a female. But I'm going to be going to reserve. So in this case, I have 3 heroes to get from reserve. And as long as you have Moses, Aaron, this is the rest, you can get to Destroyer. So, and then remember, David can band to the reserve. So how the band goes, so I'll show you who I'm going to take. The band is Moses to Aaron, Aaron to Phineas. So I'm like, okay, well, I know I need Phineas. So I would take him with Covenant with Abraham. And he's going to go to my hand. I can go ahead and play him. And this is going to be the band that I'm showing you that I would attack with. So Covenant with Abraham's down. And then I can play Out of Egypt. And this also discards the bottom card of opponent deck. And I can play Virgin Birth. I'll just do them at the same time. And now I get 2 more heroes. Because David bans from reserve, I can leave Jehoshaphat. He bans to an old warrior, OT red warrior. And then for 1, so that'd be him. And then my second one is Jehoshaphat for that. And then David's actually going to snag Joshua when I attack. Then Joshua will then bring in Jehoshaphat. Just because there's certain cards that I'd like to get rid of with Joshua. I don't need an excuse for Joshua. He's the man. So that's going to be the band. I do this even when I play. I start stacking what I'm going to do. It helps me not make misplays for certain things. And then, so I haven't attacked yet. And now I would play Denarius because it's still prep phase. Play Denarius. I do have an Emperor out. You may take an Evil Roman from deck. I only have 1 now. I took out Claudius. Or New Testament Grey Enhancement from reserve. I don't have one. While you control an Emperor, you may discard this card to draw 3. 1, 2, 3. Now for this, let's just say this was whatever, doesn't matter. I always like to put my most annoying soul in a site. Usually that's going to be Distressed, but since it's not there, I'll do Punisher. So now I have the band. I have this up, and this is turn 2. Whatever, just, yeah, there was a lost soul that I got. Joseph bans to a warrior, so he's going to go to Destroyer. I could bring in more, but I don't always like to do that for Goliath plays. Usually Goliath is just Goliath. They don't have anything to back up Goliath. So I can still leave them out because that's still a good ban. Like Miriam to Shipra, drawing 1 or playing an Exodus is good. So it's not bad. So I would go here. So I stack it first to see what I'm going to do. So I'd go Moses. And then your Exodus Handsomest cannot be negated, may ban to an Exodus human. Aaron's an Exodus human, may ban to an Exodus human or a Tabernacle Priest. He bans to Phineas. Phineas is a Tabernacle Priest. If you control another Tab Priest, which you do, you may banish up to X evil cards from a discard pile. Cool. May ban to an OT Red Warrior. David may ban to an OT Red Warrior from hand reserve. He's going to ban from reserve. He's going to bring in Joshua. You may underdeck anything in the world, exchange a card with OT Red Hero from hand or territory, because why not? And hey, he targets anything in the world to hit, and he bans to anything in the world. And then I'd bring in the Destroyer. Usually I get into a Emmaus Road, offering your son some sort of way to get to delivered as well, to get to Moses' staff by now. But that's okay. I got a massive band with a Joshua out, turn 2. If they block, I get to play the first here, unless they negate Destroyer. And then I can just play a interrupt battle, discard CBN. If they have the cross out, this one gets tossed, and that's fine. I have enough others. So let's say I won that battle. I think that's fair to say. If they attack me, I usually just do my normal. Since he's orange, he gets to ban to a Roman. I let you play something. I play Blasphemies. This deck, the defense works so well because they have to play something. And if the cross is up, which so many people have the cross up right now, it just is that much better. So if they could play anything else, I do have a blindness here. I usually just discard 1 hero in battle to leave Nero's protection going. Let's say that was a block. I don't really care if it was or wasn't. I draw 3. Remember, I immediately look for stars. I don't know if I want to do his star. I already have the band going. I have Book of the Covenant up. And I have to discard an evil. If they were using Old Testament humans, like I'm gonna want both of them. Plus blindness. So I do like getting the draw, but I do get a draw 1 over here. So it really depends what I would do here. Let's just say because KOT is similar to Red Dragon, I'll do the draw one. And then now it's upkeep. Storehouse, book. I'm always going to do the draw off book first, because then that helps me know, what do you know? I just got new cubs. So now this helps me know what I should take from storehouse or from reserve. You pretty much have everything if they block you with protection and if they block you with a band. Remember, you could also take out covenant to a storehouse as long as they're Old Testament. You can't take this one out with storehouse, but you could take it out with book. So I would take out Plague of Frogs as my next battle winner. Now I got, and then nothing else on upkeep. Wander, we're gold fishing, so it doesn't matter. So now I get to start going through my deck. Remember, if you have a shuffle, you always play this first and get a discard, shuffle, send to bottom. Even if you're gold fishing, make sure you do it the right way. I could have easily just thrown that into my deck, knowing that I'm gonna shuffle. Oh, as I look at my deck, knowing I'm gonna shuffle through numerous ways, but it's just good to practice perfectly, and that helps limit misplays when you're actually playing a game. And always know your quote unquote rotation. Like what am I trying to do in the deck? All comes back to knowing what the heck you made. So I would go here. Book of the Covenant can take a covenant from deck or reserve. I already played my 2 covenants and I drew into my other. So I don't need to take anything from deck. So I could take from reserve. I 100% want to go into my Moses Staff. And this is turn 3, and I have 13 cards in a deck that doesn't seem insanely fast. This shuffles it, so make sure you shuffle. So now Moses' staff is in my hand. And let's see, I would go Book of the Covenant first. Take a covenant from deck or reserve, essentially. I would take Oath of Purity. And now I can activate covenants on Book of the Covenant. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to deactivate that because I no longer need it. I'm going to do Oath of Purity, and it's bounce up to 2 humans in a territory. And remember, know that these are CBN and they're protected, and this can bounce the opponents, Jesse, Obed, all the nasty territory class people, Moses, Jonah, Melchizedek, if they have it. Like me, I want to bounce their Melchizedek. So I don't always have to bounce mine. Just know that you can bounce theirs, and it's very good. So I do want to bounce that Slaves in Egypt. And I do want to play New Covenant, but I don't want to do that yet, because if I look at my discard, I haven't played Plague of Hail, and this goes straight to it. So I'm going to activate Moses' staff, and I still get another activation on that. So I'm going to go to Moses' staff and actually take out Plague of Hail, and I'm going to shuffle my deck. I'm going to play Plague of Hail. You can play it in battle. It's really good in battle too. I'm going to play Plague of Hail. I'm going to discard Slaves in Egypt, and we're going to get a discard top 5. It also gets to negate a card, and this is regardless of protect. So what stops it is Golden Calf, hence Joshua. So you get a +1 there. I use a +1 just to show how many times I've played Plague of Hail. I like to get that up to a 4. Most games I get a Plague of Hail for 4, and I'm not really focused on it. I kind of get back enhancements as needed. And then I get the other, this can activate 2 covenants. So I go to New Covenant. I underdeck this and whatever you have in your discard pile as well, which usually is just like search stuff. Like honestly, I get to pick which one. So for my opponent. So I take Plague of Hail, and then I look, do I want any others? Like Death of Firstborn's really good. but I have a battle winner in my hand and I get to play first. So these go to the bottom, and then you want to play it right. Once again, this activates first, so this goes to the bottom of deck first, and then this goes to the bottom of deck. And that does matter just in case someone discards the bottom card of your deck, like Baton, Priest of Bale or something. Now I have the band. All my plagues are now regardless of protect, because originally I didn't even have Plague of Frogs in here because they're all regardless of protect. But if you get rid of my staff, I get really mad. So I threw Plague of Frogs in here as a backup. So yeah, they all come into battle again. Joshua gets exchanged. David bans to territory. Joshua gets exchanged. You would look, make sure, okay, yeah, there's nothing in there I can need. Joshua exchanged to Jehoshaphat, to Destroyer. You would have to block with a band here. But depending on your defense, like if I see you playing with Pharisees, Sadducees, something that I got going, then I take this card. I don't take this card. Let's just say you were doing some sort of, this takes out a lot of chump blocks. So say I get to play first, CBN, you would get to draw Evil Brigades. I usually give myself like a 2 on that. If played in battle, bounce at the 1, regardless of protect. This is also another really good bounce up to 1 character controlled by each player. Once again, you could hit what you need. This also lets me, if I have to play Pharaoh's Daughter as good for Covenant with Moses, it lets me bounce that. I also don't, oh yeah, I do have my Noah's Ark. It's buried, but I can just bounce my Joshua. That's fine. I got 9 cards in hand. Since I have territory class protection, I put down my heroes. Yeah, it's just a rinse and repeat. And then after that, now I have my big band of Red Dragon to Kings of the Earth, and he bans to a demon, and he's Roman. Red Dragon bans to Revelation. He's Revelation. He bans to a Roman. You get special initiative on that usually, or a lot of times I just pop people in your territory as well. If you have 2 people in battle, I pop him and then I bring in Nero. So I do a lot of that, and then I have a blindness to just throw on top of it, because why not? I'm going to assume that was a good block. Draw 3. This is such a good star in this deck, just a good star in general. So I would discard. I could play a Maestro to look at your hand, or a reserve. Top deck a good Fortress from deck. I have all 3. I don't need to show them I have a Noah. I have a big Noah band too. I could easily change at the end of Jehoshaphat. I can go to Zadok. So I can split this band how I want, either Destroyer and then Zadok to Noah. And what do you know? My Oath of Purity bounces Noah as I want. And then I could also get another shuffle, and I can shuffle in whatever's needed. Like a lot of people are playing this defense now, so I can just shuffle, except a human. So I can just shuffle in your demons. So I would look at your hand here. I kind of care about your hand. I don't really care about your reserve. Look at your hand here. It's kind of a rinse and repeat. If you get rid of my Destroyer, I attack with Shipra. I get back the Destroyer, and then it protects while it remains in territory. If you get rid of my Noah's Ark, you can't really get rid of my Tabernacle. You can get rid of my Storehouse. It's pretty tough to deal with. So Moses' staff is something you want to get rid of, but that just helps me recycle. Like, it has enough firepower outside of that. So it's upkeep time. Go to my reserve for Storehouse, get out my Plague. Upkeep, I have a Covenant active on Book of the Covenant. I get to draw 1. And nothing else on upkeep. I now get to use my artifacts. So I'm going to use Book of the Covenant, but this time I'm going to go to deck for a Covenant. Oh, what do you know? I'm going to get out New Covenant because I have a High Priest. Oh, what do you know? I'm going to activate High Priest or New Covenant. I'm going to underdeck a good OT enhancement. What are I doing my Plague of Hail? Am I crazy? Oh, I already shuffled it. I already underdecked it last time. Cool. So I am crazy. I now get another card. Usually I had Plague of Blood in here. Really good to use. Like I get to just take your enhancement, but it's with people only playing 3 evil enhancements and 4 to 5 good enhancements at times, and only being able to reveal your top 3. I wasn't getting a ton of value from Plague of Blood consistently. That's the key word. So I ended up taking that out to get the deck further down. So I still get to take whatever I want. These aren't going to do me any good. These aren't going to do me any good. I mean, that's kind of nice to discard the bottom card, but I don't necessarily care about that. Assuming they don't have the cross, like that's something you want to take for an interrupt. And that's also another good one. So I would just underdeck this, send to the bottom of deck, send to the bottom of deck. And this is a key cog to the offense. It just gets bigger because now I get to look at your hand every time. So I want to attack yet. I activated New Covenant. I still get to activate another artifact or another covenant. There's nothing I need to do with this. But you do want to keep it active so you get to draw 1 on that, even though you only have 8 cards left. So now you have delivered. Doesn't matter. You can play Emmaus Road. I don't think that matters. Yeah, nothing here for delivered, nothing here for Emmaus Road that matters. Like, oh yeah, you would go to, that's what it is. You can go to offering your son, and you can grab New Covenant again, and you can just put that down here, turn that over because it's not active, and you have it ready, but it doesn't matter, it just pulls it. Both of those go to deck. It's kind of good to cycle both those in because you don't want to necessarily deck out with all these crosses running around. So it's good to have this constant recursion. Now I have a battle winner. Play first, a big Noah band. I think I'm good. Now I get my Moses' staff, so that activates as well. I get to go to whatever I want. Let's just say I go here. I can play this outside of battle and discard my Pharaoh's Daughter, so I could show you guys the cycle there. And then I would attack with Cherubim first, so I could look at your hand. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I do want to go ahead and bring all them in. There's nothing they can do about this. I get to play first, CBN, withdraw all, and remember everything's regardless of protect. So that would be gone. Go ahead and just simulate like I went to a Son of God, and that would have 2 counters on it for 2 Plague of Hails, which is a lighter. Like I said, this deck, I used to focus on recycling Plague of Hail and trying to play that 2 times every turn. I don't really need to do that necessarily. It's really nice to play Plague of Hail a few times. Like I like playing it, like I said, 4 times a game. So 20 cards and you're good. I have no in here for Thoughts of the Cross. I just can't. I don't know. I don't think I fully need that. So let's say I won that battle. If you can get past a bunch of protection and the discard and all that, good on you. I would draw 3 and I would hope this would be it. Go to my reserve. And now this is where I actually want this. What was this turn 4? Book of the Covenant is going to take that. And what you're going to do here is you are going to activate the Eternal Covenant. And that plays a hero. And then you can activate Oath of Purity on top. And that bounces your hero. The only thing is we put, oh, that doesn't matter. It doesn't go there. It's in your artifact pile. So I activated these 2 on book. Now, yes, this one's susceptible to my opponent now, but that's okay. And that's what all these negate neutrals flying around and discarding and everything. Like This is nice that they're CBN and protected. So I could activate New Covenant. And that's another reason why I like bouncing all these people and discarding them, because if you have people that negate my neutrals, I just get rid of them. And if you have Golden Calf, I just Joshua your Golden Calf. So I activate New Covenant. I go to my discard. Like, once again, I can get out Plague of Darkness and Plague of Frogs. I can play this in a pinch if needed. And I could always play this in battle as well. But you kind of get whatever you need here. I would say I need Plague of Darkness more than Plague of Hail at this point. But if I want to, I can keep cycling with Eternal Covenant and Oath of Purity with Book. I can just keep cycling my Slaves in Egypt and my Pharaoh's Daughter. And that's another way if they have negate other things, then I can just play Pharaoh's Daughter and I can play it outside of battle regardless if Protect cannot be prevented. So that doesn't necessarily matter. I think this went to my hand because I recurred a hero and then bounced Pharaoh's Daughter. This was in discard pile. I took this with New Covenant. I underdecked this, and then this was underdecked. And then I took Plague of Darkness with Moses' Staff. I don't need anything else. There's nothing in my reserve. Like, I have this too, so it doesn't really matter. You can negate the Destroyer's ability. It's kind of what you want to do. And if you do, then I do a Zadok band to Noah. And all my stuff is CBN, so it still works. I do think the cross can go in here because of that play. But yeah, that's about it. So there's a lot of other good bands in the deck, like a Cherubim to Moses to Aaron to her is really good. Getting to look at your hand, top decking all evil dominance, which Crowd's Choice, 3 woes, obviously all the regular dominance, but Chronicles of the King. So anything like this, any neutral dominant, plus all the other evil doms, I can just top deck them, and then X equals number of your Exodus heroes. So I can top deck all your evil doms, and then I can just look at the top and I can discard your Chronicles of the King, and then I can play a Lost Soul and I can underdeck your other dominants. So that's really good. Moses, Aaron, Miriam's nice. Protect deck and Exodus heroes from discard abilities. I mean, your Exodus heroes are protected from discard. That's nice. And then banding to Shipra is another decent band, especially if you get Cherubim in there again and you can start doing this. Being able to draw one, resurrect, or play, and then protect that hero is really good, because if you lose an Aaron, like, you care about Moses, Aaron, and Destroyer. There's just a lot of targets. Like, you lose any one of these and you lose pieces of the band, then it's like, oh, that stinks. But Eternal Covenant keeps popping out everyone. So it's not like a huge thing. And then Noah's Ark helps a lot. And then getting rid of their dominance, evil dominance, like getting rid of their Christian Martyr, helps a lot. So if I play the cross, then I play Golgotha, and then the deck's at 54. And then if I have Golgotha plus Egypt, then I'm going to want Reverence and all maybe, but I have Covenant with David, so I guess I can keep it at 54. That just doesn't sound good to me. I want 2 cards to come out. But yeah, so that's the deck. I hope you like it. I can post it in Discord as well. But it was funny because I saw Caden and someone else talking, and they started saying this while I already had the deck made. I just didn't have it fully refined. So there's a couple of versions I have. I have one with Genesis because of Numerous has the stars. I can just cycle through that as well. So there's a couple of versions I had. Ultimately, this one I found to be the most consistent. I had one with an Exodus defense with Plague of Hail, where you're just going through Plague of Hail multiple times. But the issue was you can discard you know, I can Plague of Blood you, Samaritan Water Jar you, and then hit you with 2 Plague of Hails. I usually was hitting you with 3 Plague of Hails within 2 turns. So it's like, yeah, that's 15 cards plus Plague of Blood, plus, you know, Delivered and Cherubim and Her and all that. Like, I can rip through half your deck by 2 turns and recycle, but I can't block because Exodus can't really block right now. And keyword is right now. Egyptians, I'll say, can't block right now. And I'm forced to mostly an Exodus defense. And then I ended up just discarding my defense with Plague of Hail. So I was like, well, how do I get all this back all the time? And I was like, well, I was talking to John early. He was like, well, Eternal Covenant puts it in play. It's like, yeah, and if I play Oath of Purity to bounce, that's just so many pieces. I was like, well, as you all just saw, I did not have an optimal hand, and I had everything as needed. So, like I said, I'll do some deck breakdowns. I talked to Jaden and didn't want to steal any thunder, so I'll try to have these out more so on like Tuesdays. But this week was pretty crazy for me work-wise, so wanted to show y'all something I'd been working on, and I think it's really good. As long as Ephesian Widow's running around, if you pop, you know, if you get to go first and you Plague of Hail, this thing usually always gets Plague of Hail first turn. But if you hit Plague of Hail first turn, discard 5, there's a lot of cards in the Widow's Son deck that are that deck is reliant on. So if you get a discard 5, it's really good. But if they pop off, then oh well, they're gonna have to get rid of your Storehouse. You get out Storehouse insanely quick too. But yeah, just different things to keep in mind. So I hope y'all enjoyed me blabbering about this little secret I had. I was gonna hold on to it, but I said, what the heck? I'll throw it out there. So this is it. I haven't worked with anyone on this, so I pinged Demon Hunter and gave him the idea, or shared the idea with him, and asked John early how I can get. Or I told him, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean that's really good." And then I realized, well, why focus on Plague of Hail? I can just take anything and just keep cycling through CBN play first plagues that are regardless of protect. So that's really good, and it's really easy to do. And Aaron's a high priest, and you have all the colors for offering your son and all that. So I have no clue about a YouTube name, channel name, or anything. I just used my regular account. So who knows? Maybe I'll rebrand and make a little YouTube channel specifically for this. So hope y'all liked it. Hope it wasn't too long. I have no clue how long I've been talking, but yeah, I will drop this in Discord and hope for some comments. Thanks, y'all.